Maybe we should just launch in and do the intro at the end.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, let's do that.
I hate starting. Starting is the worst. So welcome. We are going to be talking today about Pitch Wars. And I'm Jo.
Hi.
And wait, say hi, Kristen.
Am I saying hi?
Yeah. First thing to say is you might be watching this video and thinking, Pitch Wars is only a few weeks away. I think I'm too late. People have been talking about it for a long time and I'm like really far behind. You're not, because both Kristen and I didn't find out about Pitch Wars last year until a week before, I think. And so you're not too late.
You.
That was me? When did you hear about it?
I heard about it at the beginning of the summer, but I didn't apply until the last, like, a half hour before it closed.
Okay, so we were last minute in different ways. It's okay. You can start now. But just have that manuscript ready.
Yes.
Let's talk about how to pick mentors to submit to. How did you decide?
Well, because I only had half an hour, it's hard to, it seems like such a blur now. So I kept going back and forth about whether I was going to submit, or if I was going to even try, because I was just in this, like, really big slump of, like, nobody likes my manuscript. I've queried all the agents. Even if I applied to Pitch Wars, all the agents have already rejected me, even though that wasn't true. In my head, it was like this bigger thing. Basically, I looked for anyone who really loved fantasy. It didn't really matter to me if anyone was published or not. I wasn't even ranking them in, like, terms of, like, preference, because I only had half an hour to do it. But I remember specifically, the ones that I remember specifically that I really liked were Traci and Renée's, because, and these are the reasons, they had, the things that they wanted were really unique weaponry, which I, like, really liked, and my book is full of really unique weaponry. And complex characters, especially female characters, and they had a lot of gifts of Daenerys Targaryen, Mother of Dragons, and Mulan.
So they were your top pick, and they picked you.
They would have been, yeah. If I had been, like, ranking in order, they definitely would have been my top pick.
Yeah, I actually kind of did a little bit of the opposite. I think I spent about a good 3 hours going through every single one, and I didn't think it was going to take that long. I mean, you can do it in half an hour if you have to, but if you have time, definitely.
Not recommended.
Not recommended, yeah. Maybe take a little more time, because a lot of them do get very specific about what they're looking for, and that was what I tried to do. You know, because fantasy is so broad. My manuscript didn't have magic, it didn't have dragons, it didn't have it. You know, it's not a high fantasy, and a lot of people were looking for that. So I was looking for keywords for those mentors who maybe suggested YA historical fiction or things that might suggest those themes would be of interest to them. And my mentor, Katie, was the one who had the most of that, so it worked out really well as well, because she was my top pick also.
The same way that you would query agents, like, for specific similarities.
Yeah, yes. So we can talk about this. We both got agents out of Pitch Wars, so obviously that is a huge thing. But what is something that you didn't expect to get out of Pitch Wars that you got?
I would definitely say friends, Exhibit A, Joanna, and the community. I did not expect, I thought, like, I'm such a introvert and, like, kind of a hermit. I'm not very socially outgoing, and so I thought I was just going to, like, hermit myself away, like, do the work, do what my mentors asked me to do, and, like, the broader community, like, I had no expectations of, like, the broader Pitch Wars community, like, all my fellow mentees, and they have probably become my favorite part of Pitch Wars. I mean, I obviously got an agent. I also got this other thing that I'm not sure I can talk about yet by the time that we put this up. But
hashtag secrets. Everything that was exactly what you said. You know, writing is such a kind of an isolating, sometimes lonely experience, because it's just you and your head and some made up people. But so to have a real community of friends who are going through the exact same thing. You don't even have to really explain yourself. Everyone just understands you. If you're having a bad day, if you're feeling discouraged, or even if you're really excited about something, when good stuff happens. Non-writers don't always understand it, but writing friends, they get it right away. And the Pitch Wars group is a lot of people, but they're all so supportive. So that was a huge, unexpected bonus.
They're also a great source of humor sometimes.
Yes, this is very true. You need laughter.
Okay, so if I could go back and give myself one piece of advice before starting Pitch Wars, it would be to stop doubting myself and just focus on the work. Because I felt like, I think Joe and I have talked about this before, where I was like just feeling so defeated, even though I was in this like really amazing contest and I had these really amazing mentors. I just kept like, I was so down on myself, and I was so like, this is not going to get me anything. No agent is going to want my book. Like, I was just like so in this really negative state of mind. I think that held me back quite a bit. I would just suggest like just blocking out those thoughts and just doing the work.
Yeah, again, I really knew nothing going into this, so I didn't have, any specific expectations, but I was such a baby writer going into this. I think I've told you before, Kristen, I didn't even know what an edit letter was before Pitch Wars. So I had no idea. I had only ever queried like twice. I think it was a few weeks before Pitch Wars. I really didn't know anything. And so Katie was wonderful because she taught me so much, and Pitch Wars, the community, taught me so much. But I guess if I would go back a year ago now, I would suggest, doing a little more research than I did, to just have more of an idea of what goes into, editing and querying. It was totally a baby. And it worked out okay, but I would probably do it a little differently if I had known any better. So that's my advice to any other baby writers out there who is new for you. So what can people who enter and get into Pitch Wars, what can they expect?
Expect to work your ass off. I think the harder you work, the more you'll get out of it. What do you think?
That's a good one. Work your ass off. That's kind of sums it up.
Like you have 2 months to, like, for me, I revised it like 2.5 times. So like make the most of it, I guess. And
also trust your instinct also on certain things. You never know how things will work out with the mentor that you end up with, and they're going to have great ideas, but also it is your story at the end of the day. So, don't be afraid, to negotiate. Everyone has an opinion, on some of those things. So stick to your gut and try to find the best way to tell the story that you want to tell. For post Pitch Wars, we still have this community and we're all super involved in it. The waiting and the revising and the wondering and the moments of discouragement, they don't end, just because you succeeded in Pitch Wars or you got an agent or you even got a book deal. There's still lots more that has to happen.
There's more waiting and like more anxiety in some ways.
And again, that's why the community is so awesome to be a part of. So that it's normal.
What I want to say though is that just because you don't get requests or lots of requests in Pitch Wars does not mean anything. Like, I feel like there's one member in our group. There's more than one member, but I'm thinking of one member in the Pitch Wars group who I think she was still sitting there, and it was like 6 months later, and she was just getting rejection after rejection, and then all of a sudden, like, I remember her posting just about like how frustrated she was feeling and how like ready to give up her manuscript she was, and then like a week later she had like 7. I'm sorry, I think I just spit on the screen. She had like 7 offers of representation. So it literally means nothing. It's so particular to the person, and like everyone's story really is so different. And I know it's hard not to compare when you see people like rocketing up the mountain that you want to be climbing as well, but it really doesn't mean anything. It doesn't.
If you don't make it into Pitch Wars, don't think that means that your manuscript is crap and you should give up on it, because you only get 5 people really to query. And when you're normally querying, you can query 60 agents, and you're looking for that one person. Your writing might be awesome and the story might be great, but then there's just another one that they clicked with just that little bit much more and wanted to spend the next 3 months on. So, don't give up on it. We don't know how to start, and we don't know how to end. So
you're better at like inspirational things than I am. So you should end it.
It's true. It's true. Enter. Go enter. Give it your best. Your story rocks. And if it's meant to be, it'll happen. And if it's not meant to happen this way, it's going to happen another way. And you're also really small and insignificant in the grand scheme of life.
Yeah. I find that comforting though. Like,
yeah.
The fact that the world doesn't rest on your shoulders, the fact that like this contest is just one of many, like that is so comforting. Like it's not the be all and end all.
You're the best. Hang on for 1 second. My computer's telling me I'm about to fall asleep here, so we're gonna have to move.
Oh, okay.
For going on an adventure in my parents' house.
Ending thoughts of mine would be, even if you don't get into pitch wars, or even if you get into pitch wars and you don't get any requests, or you don't get an agent, or whatever it is that is like the big disappointing thing, don't give up. I know that sounds so cliche, and I mean sometimes you do need to give up on a book. Sometimes you do need to give up on things and like move on to something else. But like if you still love this thing that you're working on, and you just feel like you're just hitting disappointment after disappointment and rejection after rejection, that doesn't mean that you need to put it away. Like the book that you give up on today could be the book that sells like big time in 5 months. Just pay attention to yourself and like what it is that you want, and don't let like failure and rejection get in the way of your belief in things or your belief in yourself. Like,
awesome.
Yay!
Pitch Wars.
Pitch Wars.
Pitch Wars 2016. Have so much fun. I'm jealous of you guys. I want to do it again.
It's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.